Looking to buy, sell, or grow your business to position it for a sale? As the owner and managing partner of Sun Acquisitions, Domenic Rinaldi has personally been involved in over 300 M&A transactions. He has seen and done it all, consulting with large and small businesses across a broad range of industries. On M&A Unplugged, he'll interview buyers, sellers, and their advisors about their experiences scaling, selling, and acquiring businesses. On every episode, you will get key learnings, but most importantly, you will be better prepared for your own acquisition or sale. This is M&A Unplugged with your host, Domenic Rinaldi.
Hello, M&A Unplugged community, and welcome to a special Thanksgiving episode. Today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I don't have anyone that I'm interviewing. I'm actually going to review the results from a recent survey that we conducted with prospective sellers and prospective buyers, and I'm going to share the results of those surveys. And I think what you're going to hear is something that you've heard a lot if you've been listening to the show for a while, which is the need for preparation. So important. And I think some of the feedback that we had gotten, some of the information that we distilled from the surveys really highlighted for us how important it is for buyers and sellers to prepare. And what's great about that is it's the reason we started this podcast, was that we were hoping to move the needle and helping buyers and sellers be better prepared for their acquisitions or their sales. But before I get into that, let me first say again that I'm so appreciative and so grateful for all of the listeners, the traction that the show is getting, the growing audience. And, in this week of Thanksgiving, what better time to be thankful and wishing you and your family, whoever you celebrate Thanksgiving with, an awesome holiday. For us, it's a big holiday. It's my wife's favorite holiday. And we have family descending on our home from various parts of the country, coming in literally plane, train, and automobile. We have folks coming from everywhere. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have a lot of people that are going to be at the house and looking forward to an awesome Thanksgiving. So without any further ado, let me get into the results of this survey. So recently we sent out a survey to our entire database of buyers and sellers and got back some really great information. And it really solidified for us the need for us to build a new program for buyers and sellers where we're going to help them better prepare for their acquisitions or sales. And more about that at the end of the podcast, but we are going to be launching a new service in 2020 where we're going to help people get prepared well ahead of an event. And so we'll talk about that later. So let me start with sellers. We sent out a survey. We probably asked 20 plus questions of sellers. And what was really interesting to us is 54% of the respondents said that they were preparing to sell their businesses in the next 2 years. If we push that out to within the next 5 years, that number went to 84%, which is really, when you think about it, a staggering percentage. And it's sort of in line with one of the macroeconomic trends that we've been tracking for a long time, which is the baby boomer generation. Everybody's been talking about the baby boomers and how many of the privately held companies they own in the United States and when they're going to be ready to sell. And it looks like that wave is starting to hit. And more empirical evidence of that is what we've seen in the last couple of years in our own M&A practice, more and more owners coming to us every day, every week, looking to understand if now is the right time to sell. And so we're certainly seeing that with these numbers. When we start to then peel back the onion as we got further into the survey, the portion of the survey where we really sort of had the aha moment about, okay, so people are looking to sell, but there's a huge opportunity for people to be better prepared. And the evidence of that is we asked a question around how many of the respondents understood the value of their businesses today. And 85% had no idea what the current value of their businesses were. So think about that. 84% want to sell in the next 5 years. 54% want to sell in the next 2 years, yet 85% don't know what it's worth today. So I say this often to folks that you run a business. We've heard that a person's business is typically, if not their largest asset, within their top three assets that they hold. And like any other asset that you own, your home or your portfolio, your investment portfolio, you're always wanting to know, how is your portfolio doing? What's the value? Is it moving in the right direction? Same thing with your home. Generally, people check in and they visit home for sale sites and they talk to realtors in their market and they have a general sense of what their home is worth. But it seems like when it comes to folks' business, they kind of put their heads down and they work on their businesses hard and they don't take the time and come up for a breath of air to really understand in a detailed way, what is the business truly worth? So real opportunity there. The next thing that we asked was in the category of, okay, you're looking to sell. What are you looking to do after the sale? And a whopping 64% of folks had no idea what they were going to do after the sale. Now, this is concerning because we got our hands on another survey that we saw the results of, and 75% of owners were remorseful after the sale of their business, and not remorseful in a financial way. In fact, many of them were perfectly fine and satisfied with the financial number that they pulled out. But what they realized is they had nothing to go to next. They didn't know what the next thing was going to be. And so the result was they felt remorse, they felt sort of lost, their purpose was gone, and they were struggling to figure this out. And I, in fact, have a very close friend of mine who sold his business a number of years ago, and he's really been struggling with this issue because he didn't have the next thing to go do. And he hasn't found it yet. And he will, because he's just that sort of person. But I can imagine for him, it's a little unsettling to be going through this. And so really important to think through, what are you going to do next? What's pulling you out of your business? The next category that we moved to was, do you understand what your tax ramifications of a sale would be and what your net would be, and how to minimize those taxes for not only yourself, but for the next generation, assuming that you're looking to pass along the wealth to another generation. And 50% had no idea how to calculate the taxes on a sale, and 80% had no discussions with professionals around how to minimize the tax impacts. And so there's massive opportunity here for owners because there are many strategies to be deployed in the sale of a business that will help you minimize not only your tax, but then inheritance tax and the way that wealth gets transferred and so on and so forth. So there were lots of other data points in this survey, but some of these key ones really highlighted for us. There's a massive opportunity for folks to be better prepared when they're looking not just to sell, but how they operate their business every day, because the date on the calendar in which you're going to sell or exit the business may not always be of your choosing. Why not run the business every day so that if an unscheduled event happens, you are prepared? So with that said, let's move over to the buyer side. And so buyers fared a little better on the preparation side, but there were some things that we pulled out of the survey that, again, were concerning and opportunities. The first one was that 82% of the respondents plan to make an acquisition within the next 2 years. So you've got a lot of buyers potentially coming to the market and a lot of sellers that are looking to make acquisitions in a very short period of time. And certainly what we've seen in the marketplace as far as activity goes. But on the concerning side and the opportunity for buyers is that over 60% had no acquisition plan, not even an informal acquisition plan. And so the opportunity here on the acquisition plan side is, understanding the profile of the company that you want to target, the attributes of that business, what geographies you're willing to look at, sizes of business that you're willing to go after. an integration plan. If you make an acquisition, how are you going to integrate that whole business into yours? Thinking about culture and all of the things that go into creating a good acquisition plan so that when you're ready to go to the market and look for things, or when something comes your way, you know exactly how to analyze that deal and understand whether you should put it in your pipeline or kick it out. 75% of the folks that responded were looking to either do an add-on to their existing business, or they completely wanted to diversify from what they were doing today. And it was pretty much split 50-50. 50% of those folks were looking for an add-on and 50 wanted to diversify. Again, it's pretty consistent what we're seeing in our M&A practice as far as buyers and what they're looking to do. The next opportunity was how you're going to finance a transaction. And over 50%, actually close to 54% of the folks that responded really didn't have an idea of how they would finance a transaction or their options, what's available out there in the way of debt financing or alternate financing. And this is so key because when you think about making an acquisition, one of the important things to consider is what's your return on investment targets? How much leverage are you willing to put on a new business? How quickly do you want to earn your money back? And understanding the financing options really helps you pull together that picture so you have clear targets that you're going after. So again, on the buyer side, we asked many more questions, but these were a couple of the things that popped up that really highlighted for us big opportunity for buyers also to improve their acquisition value and how to maximize that approach. And so, the problem is clear. With a little more preparation, folks can ensure a better return on their investment, which is why we have been working on developing some new program for sellers. And I shouldn't even say sellers, because the program really is for owners of businesses to help them maximize the value of their businesses, whether they're looking to sell today, 5 years from now, or 20 years from now. When you build a business that's operating at maximum value and it's self-managing, one, that you're always prepared should something pop up that you need to respond to. But chances are you're going to have a lot more fun running a business that is self-managing. It allows you to get out of the weeds of the company, get to a different level, think more around strategy, how you can move the needle, and you could be away from the business for good periods of time and not have to worry that the business isn't going to continue to operate without you. On the buyer side, we're working on a program that would help you put together an acquisition plan in detail and really get educated on the phases of an acquisition and how to be prepared for each phase of an acquisition. So really helps buyers pull together all of the elements and what makes for a good acquisition and maximizing your return on that investment. We're hoping that sometime in early Q1 that we'll be ready to go to market with those. So stay tuned. I'll have more that we'll bring to you as the weeks pass by here. And again, we really so much appreciate and we're so grateful for all of the listeners that have become loyal listeners of M&A Unplugged. We hope you enjoyed the content that we bring to you every week. Again, wishing you an awesome Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week on M&A Unplugged. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today on M&A Unplugged. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, rate, and recommend it wherever you get your podcasts. If you want more great information on how to scale, acquire, or sell a business, please visit our website at sunacquisitions.com.